In this video, we're going to show you how to replace a steering knuckle on your Scion XB. This is going to be located behind the front wheel. Let's get started. Remove the hubcap. Using a 21mm socket, remove the 5 lug nuts. Remove the wheel. We're going to bend the cotter pin up and out of the way and remove it from the outer tie rod. Using a 17mm socket, remove the nut for the outer tie rod. Using a hammer, tap on the side of the knuckle where the tie rod goes in to break the tension. Using a 14mm socket, remove the bolt for the brake line. Pull the bracket out. Using a trim tool, we're going to pop out the plastic stay for the ABS sensor. Using a 10mm socket, remove the bolt for the ABS sensor. Remove the bolt and pull the sensor out of the knuckle. I'm going to put this up inside of the strut. Using a 17mm socket, remove the 2 caliper bolts. Put a hand on your caliper. We're going to pull it off of our rotor. I'm going to hang my caliper from the strut using a hook, making sure that there's no tension on my brake hose. Remove the rotor. Using a 30mm socket, remove the axle nut. Push on the axle, make sure it moves freely in the hub. If it doesn't, grab a punch and a hammer and punch it through. Using a 17mm socket, we're going to loosen all 4 wheel bearing bolts. There's 2 on each side. Remove all 4 bolts. Do the same thing on the other side. Tap around the wheel bearing and remove it from the vehicle. Bend the cotter pin straight for the lower ball joint nut. Using a pair of cutters, I'm going to remove the cotter pin. Using a 19mm socket, we're going to loosen the lower ball joint nut. Remove the lower ball joint nut. Using a hammer, we're going to break the tension for the lower ball joint to the knuckle. Pull down on the lower control arm to separate the ball joint from the knuckle. Using a 22mm wrench, we're going to hold the head of the bolt. We're going to use a 22mm socket, and we're going to break the nut free. Do this for the bottom as well. Remove both bolts. When we remove this last top bolt, be sure you have a hand on the knuckle. And remove it from the vehicle. Install the knuckle into the vehicle. We're going to get our bottom bolt started first. Get the top bolt installed and get both nuts started. Pull down on the lower control arm and get it installed into the bottom of the knuckle. I'm going to get my wheel bearing bolts started in the back of the knuckle. Install the backing plate around your wheel bearing. Line the wheel bearing up into place and get the bolt started. Go around and get all of the wheel bearing bolts started by hand. Snug the bolts down in a cross pattern. Torque the wheel bearing bolts to 71 foot-pounds. Torque them down in a cross pattern. Install the lower ball joint nut. Install the outer tie rod end and get the nut started. Snug down the lower ball joint nut. And we're going to torque this to 98 foot-pounds. You can't get a torque wrench on this, do the best you can. Install the cotter pin. Bend the tabs over, down and out of the way. Install the axle nut and snug it down. While holding the studs with a pry bar, we're going to torque our axle nut to 159 foot-pounds. Using a hammer and a punch, we're going to stake our axle nut. Install the rotor. Pull the caliper off the hook. Pull it down around the rotor. And get the caliper bolt started. Get the caliper bolts started by hand. Snug the caliper bolts down and torque them to 79 foot-pounds. Install the brake line bracket. Get the bolt started. Snug the bolt down. Install the plastic stay onto the side of the strut. Install the ABS sensor into the knuckle. Install the ABS sensor into the knuckle. Get it fully seated and get the bolt started. Snug the bolt down. Snug down the outer tie rod end. Torque the nut to 36 foot-pounds. Using a jack, we're going to get under the lower ball joint on our control arm. We're going to put our suspension at ride height. So this will be when the car is sitting on the ground where the control arm is going to sit. And this is where we are going to torque our control arm. We're going to snug down our strut bolts. Torque the strut nuts to 177 foot-pounds. Do the same thing on the bottom. We're going to be torquing the nut here and holding the head of the bolt. Remove the jack out from under the control arm. Install the wheel, get all the lug nuts started. Snug them down. Torque the wheels in a star pattern to 79 foot-pounds. Install the hubcap. After completing this repair, you will need to bring your car to the local alignment shop for an alignment.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.